I did something a little different today, and I might be thinking too hard. We'll see. I'm prone to think too hard. But if you look in your bulletin, if you see the sermon notes, there's space there. There's going to be a slide for every space that's there. Okay? So let's look, except the first one you're going to have to fill it in yourself. Let's look at the first slide. See if we can fill in this blank. 38 years ago, I was. Think about it. What comes to mind? 1972. Okay, fair enough. I had one sister. I had one sister that was 5 and one sister that was 2, and I had not yet existed in 1972. New house, $27,000, $27,600. Average income, $11,859. Warren, could you tell us the car? I didn't look up a car. You know what the average car was in 1972? $2,500. The French Connection won the Academy Award. Is that a good one? The Godfather was released. They were thinking about coming out with compact discs. That might be a new technology. And they were also working on the CAT scan, debuted in 1972. And electronic mail, they were thinking about maybe this is a good thing. The Queen of England would send an electronic mail a couple years later that had to do, what are you doing for lunch? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Consider a period of 38 years. It's a long time to be doing the same thing. And let's look, see where I'm going as we read our scripture lesson. Let's look at our next slide. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. And let's stay right there. 38 years he had been by that pool. Now this is hard for us to understand because it's completely different. But in that period of time, it was believed that someone would stir the water, and the first one in the water would be healed. The problem is, the majority of the people have a tough time getting to the water because they're in the condition that's put them there. So you have a bunch of people that are broken, that are hurting, that if only given the opportunity to be in the water first, would be able to walk away from there. If they have any incentive whatsoever to help any other one get into the water. I don't have any idea about the frequency, but any level of frequency, I want to be the first one in the water. I don't want to let you in the water first. And so the law is, you do what you have to do to take care of yourself in that situation. So this man had lost the race for 38 years. I would assume you'd start to think, well, I'm probably never going to make it. Nobody's ever going to help me because there's going to be new people here that want to get in, and somebody's always going to beat me to it. In that sort of situation, when you have supreme weakness, you are looking for a weakness to exploit on the part of another person. Any way, shape, or form I can take advantage of the other person so I can get there first is what you want to do. Now let's look at the next scripture. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked, "Do you want to get well?" No. I'd like to sit here another 38 years. I don't know how many people have spoken to this man. I don't know how many people have offered him any sort of medical help or any sort of magical potion, or if he did this 3 times, maybe he'd feel better. I don't know if he lost his money trying to get better. But in this condition, if someone were to ask you, "Do you want to get better?" Sir, the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes ahead of me." Now let's stay right there. Sometimes people think the Bible is too complicated to read, that you have to have gone to seminary and studied that sort of thing to be able to read it. Or you have to have gone to seminary and actually paid attention in class, not be burned out because you've been in school since kindergarten. You have to go to seminary and actually pay attention when the professor is talking and read the material to understand this work. People also think, well, the Bible is all about good things, and I do a lot of bad things. I'm not sure I'm able to read anything in the Bible. Both are incorrect. Now, there are versions that are very difficult to read, to be sure. But if you look at the message, if you went online and looked at the message, or you bought a message in a Bible store, fairly easy read. One, that's one problem. Two, the human condition is throughout the entire book. Pain, loss, fear, anxiety, anger, murder. Any sort of thing that human beings do is exactly right there, which is why it's so helpful to us. It's not a distant book that has no idea what we're going through, that if we were to live up to it, well, yeah, maybe we can do that. The Bible is absolutely where we are, and lower than where we are in some cases, as you can read here. The Bible does not hold anything back and describes real-world human pain. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. I've yet, even being a parent, I've yet to be the one that had to get that Christmas gift. That hadn't happened yet to me. Has that ever happened to y'all where you had to get the Christmas gift and somebody grabbed the last one in the store? I use the green arrow all the time. Somebody is at the green arrow and they're looking at their phone or doing something they miss, that they're the first one in the green arrow and you're 6 cars back and you're just hoping against hope that you can make it. Well, 5 cars make it and you're stuck. Any sort of situation like that where the people ahead of you have no desire whatsoever to help you. What do they care? I'm making it. Well, let's look at our next slide. The disabled man could not reach the water because no one would help him. No one had incentive to help him. They were all broken. And because they were broken, it caused them to attack. Now, you might not understand trying to be beside water and getting in because that water is going to help you. You can surely understand in relationships with a roommate, in relationships with family, in relationships with a spouse. When you are both tired, something's going to happen. It's going to be a tiny thing. It's going to be a fork in the dishwasher that should be in the spoon file. It's going to be a lost remote control. It's going to be the yard needs whatever. Any sort of thing, when you are both tired, it's going to be a pretty short fuse. And if people are broken, they have no incentive to help each other, well, it's going to be a real problem. And we can all grasp that in a pretty simple fashion.